Everyone calls this the loneliest road in America. Back in 1986, Life magazine basically warned people not to drive Highway 50 in Nevada unless they were confident in their survival skills. No points of interest, nothing to see, possibly dangerous. Coming from Australia, hundreds of kilometres between towns is nothing new for us. So obviously, we drove it. And what we found was ghost towns, hot springs, ancient petroglyphs, sagebrush saloons, wide open skies, and one of the most underrated national parks in the US. We've broken this trip into 4 sections, and how long you take to do it is completely up to you. But I personally think you should give it a minimum of 5 days. The official Loneliest Road in America begins in Carson City, but we actually started in Lake Tahoe and drove east to Great Basin National Park along Highway 50, roughly 643 kilometers or 400 miles if you drove without detours. We did this in an RV we hired through Cruise America from Las Vegas, which worked amazing because the highways here in Nevada are in great condition and there's plenty of places to park and camp. But you absolutely don't need an RV. You could easily do this in a regular car and stay in motels in the little towns along the way. So yes, it's remote, but not like Outback Australia remote, more like rural America remote. And it's definitely not empty with plenty to see and do. Lake Tahoe to Austin, about 195 miles or 313 kilometers. This first stretch eases you in. You go from the stunning alpine Lake Tahoe blues to slowly watching the landscape flatten out and open up. And that basin and range pattern starts. Climb a mountain range, drop into a valley, climb another one, over and over. Our highlights: Fort Churchill State Historic Park. Nevada is chock full of ghost towns, and Fort Churchill State Historic Park is just one of them. Once a United States Army fort and now a crumbling Wild West ruin that glows beautifully at golden hour. Fort Churchill State Historic Park has excellent signage and lots of space to stretch your legs. It genuinely feels like stepping into the 1800s. Hidden Cave and Grimes Point. Here, you'll find an interpretive trail that snakes around a rocky canvas of ancient petroglyphs, carved into rock faces thousands of years ago. It's worth stopping for this alone, but there's more to see here. Hiking trails lead to a series of caves, with the most well-known being Hidden Cave. It's usually under lock and key as it's an ongoing archaeological dig site that has exposed 21,000-year-old rock layering. If you time it right, you can join a public tour to see inside. We got so lucky, and a volunteer who had just finished a tour unlocked the cave and took us through. Sand Mountain. Sand Mountain is exactly what it sounds like. A giant sand dune rising unexpectedly from the desert and a firm favourite for ATV and off-roaders. It's legally open to off-road riders and drivers, so you'll see a number of ATVs tearing up its steep sides. Middlegate Station. Established in 1860 as a Pony Express stop, this restaurant pit stop is surprisingly lively. Although we didn't, many try the legendary multi-pound burger called the Middlegate Monster. We did, however, join hundreds of others before us and staple a dollar bill to the ceiling. Why? Who knows? On this section of America's Loneliest Road, you could also visit Dayton State Park, Churchill County Museum, the Berlin Ichthyosaur State Park, yes, dinosaur fossils in the desert, or Stillwater Wildlife Refuge. Austin to Eureka, about 203 miles or 327 kilometers. This is where Highway 50 in Nevada really feels remote. There are longer stretches, very few cars, and big skies. Again, if you're coming from Australia, this won't feel like a big deal. Our highlight, Spencer Hot Springs. It's free and it's in the middle of nowhere. It doesn't really get much better than this. We went in April and the outside temperature was bordering on freezing. Luckily, the hot spring is warm, so it's just a quick, uncomfortable run from the springs to the RV when you get out. Watching sunset here is surreal. It would have been perfect except for the wild wind on the night we visited. We're at Spencer Hot Springs, just out of Austin in Nevada, and we've got this great campsite right next to the hot springs. For now, we're hiking up this little mini mountain behind where we're camped. This is the view. Also worth doing on this stretch of the road is Hickerson petroglyphs, the Stokes Castle overlooking Austin, the Eureka Opera House, and if you're into haunted history, the underground tunnels in Eureka. Austin and Eureka feel like silver boom towns that just kind of never modernized, with a proper Wild West vibe. Eureka to Ely, 77 miles or 124 kilometers. This stretch is shorter, but it's packed with cool things to see and do. Highlights for us included the Ward charcoal ovens. These are huge beehive-shaped stone kilns from the 1870s. They look like something from a fantasy movie set, and they were actually used by outlaws to hide in. And at night, the stargazing here is next level. We're on a hill called Garnet Hill near the small town of Ely in Nevada, and we're hopefully going to find some garnets today. After rain, you can actually find garnets on the ground. The kids were absolutely convinced we were about to strike it rich. We did not, but the optimism was strong and it was still a great way to spend the afternoon. Wayne E. Kirsch Wildlife Area Hot Springs. This one is stunning, but you will need to detour off Highway 50 to find this warm pool of turquoise blue water in the middle of nowhere. It's also a protected habitat, so this is one of those places where you really need to be respectful. Ely to Great Basin National Park, 56 miles or 90 kilometers. This is where the loneliest road in America ends on a high, not too far from the Utah border. Great Basin National Park is one of the least visited national parks in the US, which means no crowds, no tour buses, and no fighting for viewpoints. You've got 5,000-year-old bristlecone pine trees, the Lehman Caves, Alpine Lakes, Wheeler Peak, and some of the darkest skies in the lower 48 states. Is it actually lonely? Not really. Services are spaced out and there are long, quiet stretches, but it's quite a big exaggeration to call it America's loneliest road. But is it dangerous? No. Is it boring? Definitely not. The loneliest road in America just doesn't perform for you every 5 minutes, and you have to be willing to slow down and maybe take a detour to find the best parts. Who is this road trip for? If your family enjoys hot springs, ghost towns, history, stargazing, open landscapes, and small town America, you'll love it. If you need theme parks and constant entertainment, it's probably not for you. However, the loneliest road in America might be exactly what you didn't realize you needed. We'd absolutely do it again.